Good morning to a brand new day. Time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun. Learning is good for everyone.
On camera.
Happy Friday, boys and girls, and welcome back. My name is Mrs. Zane. I'm so excited to have you join me this morning so that we can become amazing readers and writers. Now, let's get started by recommending a book for you to read. This is a book called The Hat by Jan Brett, and I love the story because it's about a little hedgehog named Hedgie, and he accidentally gets a sock stuck on him, and he goes around and everybody thinks that it's just a hat. Can you believe that? So if you want to read more about the story, make sure to check it out on Sora or at your county library. Now, if you want to recommend a book for me to share with all the other second graders, make sure that you are writing to me here at the studio, and you can also write to me and tell me everything that you are learning. And when you write me a letter, I will send you one of these fun activity books. Like my good friends Penny and Tatum, they wrote to me a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to be sending them out some activity books. So don't forget to use the address that you see below so that you can write to me, tell me what you're learning, tell me books that you want to recommend to other boys and girls to read, and I'll send you one of these fun activity books. Now, let's get started with our learning for today, because remember, our job is to make our brain super strong, because the stronger our brain becomes, the smarter we become. So we'll start off with our listening ears. We're going to be training that ears, and that means you need to turn those listening ears up so that you can listen. We're going to start with our phonemic awareness and practice with a game called What's My Word? This is where I'm going to give you some sets of sounds. Your job, blend them together, guess my word. Ready? Okay, let's get started. Listen for these set of sounds. What's my word? Ready? Use. What is it? Fuse. And actually it's use. Fuse. Good job. Fuse. How about these set of sounds? What's my word? You. Let me get that in. You. It. You. It. Let's try that again. Sorry, let's go back. Ready? You, it. What's my word? Unit. There you go. Okay. And last set of sounds. I hear you. You guys are doing awesome. Ready? You. You. What's my word? New. Good job. New. Awesome job, boys and girls. Okay, now that our ears are warmed up and ready, let's practice our sound of the week. Now this week and all week, we've been learning the long U sound. Remember, the long U says you. It says its own name, but it has 4 different ways that we can spell the U sound. We can spell the U with just the U by itself, like in the word unit. The U consonant silent E. And remember that silent E's job is to make the U say you, and we don't say that silent E sound. EW says you, and UE says you. So 4 different ways that we can spell the U sound. And remember that U sound is very similar to another sound, that has the same spelling pattern. So once we learn it, we will look at the different ways we can spell and say those 2 different sounds. So let's start off first by blending some of these letters so that we can read. Ready? Now, if I look at my first set of letters, again, I see that there are 2 vowels. Remember how we learned about 2 vowels might mean they have 2 syllables, because remember, every syllable has its own syllable, a syllable sound. So as you're reading, I want you guys to be breaking them up into syllables so that you can read. So the first one is a vowel consonant, and it's another vowel consonant vowel, and then there's a, sorry, let's try that again. And you're saying, that's not a vowel. You're right, M is a consonant. It's a consonant, vowel, consonant, and then a vowel. So if I look, here's my consonant, vowel, consonant. So this together is what we call a closed vowel. Remember, because the vowel is closed in. So that's our clue that tells us that E makes the short vowel sound. The U by itself is what we call an open syllable. So it makes the U sound. That's when it makes the U sound. You're right. So let's sound or blend these letters together. Ready? M, N, men, U. Menu. What's my word? Menu. Good job, boys and girls. And that's how you would sound it out, breaking them up into syllables. Now, let's practice our next set of letters. Ready? ST is a blend. Good job. ST. St. And the EW says U. Blend it together. St. U. What's my word? Stew. Stew. Now, how many of you guys love a good stew on a cold evening? I do. I love it. Stew. Good job, boys and girls. Okay, now let's practice building some words. So as you're writing, you want to be able to hear those sounds and use your spelling patterns to help you. So let's practice with the word truth. Truth. Segment it with me. T, t, oh, there's that tur. Youth. Truth. So I heard that tur, and that's a blend also. What blend is that? That's the TR. Good. A 2-letter blend. Tur. U is the U. Good. And then the last sound is truth. What makes that sound? The good. That's a TH. That's our digraph. Truth. Let's spell it. TRUTH. Truth. Good job, boys and girls. Now, let's go and practice reading a story. I have another story for you guys today. So before we start reading, let's go over some of our fluency. Remember, we are going to work with our accuracy, reading words correctly, our rate, not going too fast, not going too slow, expression, reading with feelings in your voice, and to do that, we're going to focus on our punctuation to help us with our feelings as we're reading so we don't sound like a robot. So today, I have a story called Growing Stew to read with you. So read along with me as we read Growing Stew.
Growing Stew. On those days when spring began, we tilled the garden and planted new seeds. What plants will those new seeds be? What will the garden give us? The birds and bugs made music as we kept the garden clean. The wind blew chilly as spring was new, but a few buds came breaking through. Which new plants are growing? The truth is, it's not easy to help those new buds grow, but this garden was a duty, so we kept feeding the new baby plants. In the garden, the plants are veggies. They grew in rain and wind and dew. We pulled the weeds and fed the plants. We chased off the harmful birds and bugs like ants. The veggies grew in June and July. Then we picked them. We pulled up beautiful carrots, peas, and beans. We put them in a big pot. Yum! It was a lot of time, but we ate a tasty stew. What a special menu!
Did you see any words with that long U sound? Now, there were some tricky ones in there with the same spelling pattern, but it didn't say U. These are the words I found. Let's see. There was the word menu, duty, truth, music, grew, new, and stew. Don't get tricked. There were some words in there that had some of the EW but didn't have the same U sound. Now, how about the high frequency words? Did you find any? There was just a few in this text. So the word began, beautiful, and give. Good job, boys and girls. And that's a perfect segue because next we're going to be learning our high frequency words. Now remember, high frequency words are words that we see most frequently when we are reading. And it's important to know these words automatically because we want to save that brain power for those longer words. So all week we've been working with 10 words and every day we've been focusing on 2. So our first 2 words are our 2 words that we're going to focus on. I want you to help me read and write it. Ready? This one says live. Help me read it. Live. And guess what? It can also say live. It does. It's spelled exactly the same. So depending on your sentence, you will either say live or live. Let's spell it. It's spelled L-I-V-E. Live. And today we're going to say live. Our next word is turned. Help me read it. Turned. Help me spell it. T-U-R-N-E-D. Turned. And did you see there was the E-D at the end? That means good. It happened in the past. Turned. Good job. So don't forget to say that D at the end. Turned. Now, I have 2 sentences for us. Help me try to figure out which one of these sentences will go into which one of these words will go into the sentence so that it will make sense. Ready? Help me read the first sentence. It says, been 7 last week. Oh, there's a clue. It happened in the past. Something happened last week. Let's read the second sentence. Ready? Where do you Okay. I think you guys already figured it out. What's the first one? The first sentence says, been turned 7 last week. You're right, and that was my clue. Something happened last week. I had my ED that helped me know turned. And where do you live? Good job. Now remember, if you said live, it didn't make sense. Where do you live? Okay, awesome job, boys and girls. Now let's quickly read all of the words that we learned this week. Turned, live, America, beautiful, climbed, began, country, come, didn't, and give. Awesome job. Now, we're going to quickly end the week with our comparative endings. Remember, we were learning the ER that says EST that says S, and remember, we add ER to 2 when we're comparing 2 nouns, EST when we're comparing more than 1. So here's my word old. If I add the ER, here's older, EST becomes oldest. Listen to my sentence. My dad is blank, then my mom. I'm comparing 2 nouns. Oh, I hear you guys. My dad is older than my mom. Awesome job, boys and girls. You guys are doing such a good job learning this week with me. We've learned our comparative endings, our high frequency words, and the long U sound. So don't forget to come back next week so that we can continue our learning so that we can make our brain super smart and super strong. And we'll end it with our positive message of the day. Don't wish for it, work for it, right? So if you want something, you gotta work hard for it. So boys and girls, have a great weekend, and I hope you come back, and I'll see you back next week here in our PBS classroom. Bye-bye.
A brand new day, time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun. Learning is good for everyone.